Hello Jesse, welcome back from Costco. Just give me a second. Posting on IG, see if we can get more people in here. Hope your tire got fixed, Jesse. No, that means you're a day without a car. Well, I hope they don't have any delays, because they say one thing, they'll say like, oh, we're ordering, and then turns out they're like, psych, the order's not here yet. Oh, that would be ideal if we only waited in line for the hot dogs or the pizzas. Okay. We'll get started with yours first, Misu, just because yours is shorter. Let's see, so first up for rendering, one thing that's glaring at me is the color of the shadow here. And if we're looking at all your other localized colors, a lot of them are more peachy, so when you have this kind of yellow ochre color for the shadow, it really throws me off. So you can just fix this real quick. Just select the color and just push it more towards that red color. It doesn't have to be like a lot, so just a slight bit. So see the difference? Now it feels like a shadow color rather than, I don't know, maybe you had a piece of sandpaper in her hand. Yeah, it looks like vomit. According to Misu, the instructor was too sham, so let's stalk him a little bit. I'm not familiar with too sham. There's too many things going on. Too sham. Ah, alright, we're giving him a shout out. They don't need my shout out, but they don't need my shout out, but whatever. Go away, go away. Ah, what happened to them? Ugh, freaking hate Colossus website. It's so not user friendly. Two sham. So there's two of them, and I'm guessing you probably did this one. Yeah, that's what I figured. All the art looks so pretty. So let's see if we can find the art that you copied. I don't know. It is a lot of work, and I work a full-time job now, so I'm not sure if I'd have time to do another course. Don't know if they even would want to do another course with me, because if you've seen like their whole website, they're pretty saturated with a lot of different artists. It's this one, it's this one. Ha 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 ha. The only class that I have that they gave for free to me, and I swear to God, I need to find some time to actually watch this stuff. Classes. Okay, so I bought this one from Hasa because I wanted to know how to animate. Haven't had time to go through it. And then they gave me this one for a trial just to see how it is. And again, no time. I'm such a piece of shit. But maybe one day when I have some free time, I'll go through these courses that are sitting in here. Okay, but anyway. Yeah, they're doing pretty well. They don't need my shout out. Though I can't read a lick of this. It's all Japanese. The boba. Okay. Anyway, we fixed the shadow, and then let's look at your other rendering. This looks beautiful, and then I come to here and I'm like, I'm confused. What happened here, Misu? What happened? Here's how you'll fix it. You're gonna use your lasso tool, either on Procreate or whatever. You're just gonna create this selection, and then you're gonna find your soft fluffy brush, make it a little bigger than you think you would need it, and then we're just gonna choose this color and just blend it out. And you're gonna focus the darker shadow closer to where that fold is. Coarse fatigue, nah, I feel that. So if you're tired at some point, you know, you can stop there and then come back to it another day and clean up some of the details. That way your fabric folds will look a little bit better. And let's help you fix that one too. And then taking your soft fluffy brush, again, just blending out those harsh edges so they don't look so harsh. See how that now looks a little bit more like fabric? When it comes to dark shadows in here, those folds, you definitely need to have a harder edge versus this part where it's a very subtle value change. Then you can have those softer edges. And I'm not saying like all the time it has to be perfectly rendered, but if you do these rougher edges, make it more deliberate, so make it more stylized. So go crazier, go like more wispy. Move your wrist a little bit faster, that way the ends don't look so out of place, you know? So something like that. See how it's not perfectly rendered, but it's gonna look deliberate because the way the direction of the brush stroke, so it follows the direction of the shadow. So same for this one. If you're really tired, I would rather you just choose one value for the shadow rather than try to get all these variations in the color of the shadow, because that way it's gonna look more complete rather than it's half-assed. And then this highlight goes right on top of that fold right there instead. Okay, let's see. We'll close off, cut that shadow off, make it more into a triangle shape so it looks more deliberate. So you can kind of cheat and not have to do the soft edges. Same for here, you can cheat a little bit, just make sure to clean up the edges like that. And then let's see. I think you can totally emphasize the lighting here even more, because if we're gonna go anime, you're gonna go balls to the walls anime, okay? We're gonna do that whole like highlighter two-tone color here. And I might go for let's go for that kind of tealish color and go a little lighter. Not too teal. I feel like the tealish color is gonna bug the hell out of me. No, okay. That looks too similar to her clothes. Let's see, so this one's over here, so let's go more purplish color. There we go. If we're gonna do Animu, might as well do that whole saturated vibrant back of the hair kind of vibe. If this wasn't so light, I would go even lighter, but because the dress is so light already, if I go lighter, it's gonna look too similar. So only option is to make the hair darker. The bag. Select. I'm gonna make those a little bit darker. So we get that nice contrast. Do you see how in our navigation right here, that darker value kind of makes the arm and the figure pop out towards the front a little bit more? And keep in mind when I'm doing this darker value, I'm adding a little bit of saturation because this right here is closer to that less saturation section, so I want to add some saturation, just a little bit, to kind of give a little bit of contrast. Let's do that same color over here, but make it slightly lighter. I would probably get rid of that petal, that weird one right there, unless you add more, because it just looks like she has a weird ass birthmark. Which is, I'm sorry to say, it's not supposed to be an insult, but if you wanted to have, you know, that petal sitting there, we would need a lot more, like everywhere over here. And then I would recommend finding a brush that has, let's see, and there's like plenty of free brushes online also, so find a brush that has some kind of scattering, something like that, and then you can add some more here and there. Where's my other one? This one. So this one looks more like a petal. And you can erase away some. If we're talking about composition, we're going to have to talk about the background composition, but I'm not going to hurt anyone's feelings today. I just wanna ask why that original artist, she decided to put such a flat background like that. Maybe she was just, you know, trying to emphasize only the character, which I get, but so many things could have been done with like the curtain, like we could have had some more wispy curtains going on like this. We could have, I don't know, changed up the color a little bit, add some greens or add some purples to the background, like change the mountain over here to be more green, right? Like that's an option. And by doing that, adding some other colors, you add some variety. So I'm going to erase that stuff. I fucked up. Okay, I should have put this on a different layer. Okay, let's do that now. There be a cut. Okay, and then I'm just gonna add some motion blur to the petals. Not too much. For 4 weeks, this is really, really good. So honestly, you could even call it complete here if you're just tired of it. These are all just small things that you can do to make it pop out more. Like obviously, if it's such deep cleavage, we're gonna be honest, the shadow would be much more dramatic than this. And then we gotta get that spicy highlight really, really clean for it to look good. I would suggest we go just a little darker on this shadow so that we can see it against her chest, and so we don't, you know, have this weird two similar values. And then I just have to ask you what happened to her hair. Like, can we at least complete it so it makes a little bit of sense? A little bit? It just disappeared and over her chest. I don't know where to go. I know it still doesn't really make much sense here, but at least a little bit more sense. And then back to what I was talking about with like the green, we're gonna add just a little bit of a hue of that green onto her eye. Just so it doesn't look too isolated. Where's my green? Wonder if that's too much green. I don't know, it's up to you. If you want to do more green, you can. If you don't like the green, you can also not do it. I think it helped bring her eyes out more and you give a little bit more variety to the color. It's hot, stuck to the armpit. Okay, I guess that is one explanation, but if it were me, if I have some hair stuck even to my face, I get that shit out right away. There's no way that shit's gonna fly over here. Okay, and then let's do that shadow right between the thighs. We need that subsurface scattering that happens here that you're missing. So let's darken up the shadow just a little bit first, and then you can go ahead and go balls to the walls with a little bit of that brighter red. Shit, my bad. Okay, so darker there, and then how do we do this? Darker there, gotta give us enough space to do this shit, okay. And then just reduce the size of your little chonker. You can add back just a little bit of light. And this only works if it's dark enough. If it's not dark enough, it's gonna look like ass. So I know the style is to do really, really light shading, but we do need just a little bit more shadow, just a little bit more so that you can actually see her dress on top of things. See, now you got the the vibrancy of those, like, I don't know, those Japanese covers. It's the high contrast that does it. If you continue doing the low contrast, it tends to look a little bit more, how do I say it? You know, like those one-shot illustrations that they have for in-betweens for magazines. Those are more what I would consider for those kind of flat shading. Let's fix up this background just a little bit. It's hecka wonky, so the angle of this. Okay. I will try to make this window a little higher because the way the angle that we're looking at it, this windowsill is technically above, a little bit higher than the perspective of it, so we shouldn't see so much of that top. So you just want to get rid of a little bit more of it. I don't know, it's garbage editing, but bear with me. Not sure how I'll edit this part, but somehow. Kind of, I don't know. Fuck that shit, okay? So it's something like that, you get what I mean? And then we're going to decide if it's windows open or windows closed. If it's windows closed, we need just a little bit of reflection going on in the window, so it looks like a window. Soft light, and let's not do so much of just one type of blue. You're gonna try different types of blue, so let's go for this blue then. Okay, it doesn't even have to be like crazy reflection, it could just be a tiny bit of reflection. Oops. I feel like overlay's not the best. The hell should I use? Oh, that's cool. Huh. Okay, don't mind me, I'm just fucking around trying to figure out what would be a cool reflection color. Let's go more blue. Okay, so I don't know, maybe something like that. You could play around with the layer modes, add more layers, add more types of highlights. You could even just do normal layer if you're so inclined to hide some of these items. Oh wait, I'm not on the right layer. Okay, maybe something like that, just so it looks a little bit more like a window. Right now it just looks weird because there's just not enough detail going on in the background. Okay, alright, let's look at before and after. It's just slight differences. But they do help you, clean it up, finish it up. Where am I? Ugh, I'm in the fucking wrong layer, okay. Glint. There we go. Get rid of some of that just really strong color. And if you want to add a little bit more cinematography, you can just add some more of these stray hairs. Just make them a little bit more flyaways. Don't make them so perfect, because they definitely are super, super close to the body right now. So it feels, restricted, like you didn't really give too much room for us to play around with. Oh, hello. Welcome. We're talking about Japanese anime girls and how to make them look cooler. And when you're doing these kind of really thin hair strokes, Misu, please zoom out at least like this much so that you don't have to struggle so hard to move your wrist in like a specific position in order to get it. You can just flick your little hand a tiny little bit and it'll work for you. It's easier to control that way. So let's do one that's opposite direction here. And then make this one a little bit longer. Okay, so that's all I would do for your picture. If you don't like some of this stuff that I added, you can totally just get rid of it. It's your prerogative. Well, if you haven't said it, I think I get the message now. But for someone who hates drawing hair, I think you did a great job with this one. My tip for if you hate drawing hair, you don't have to draw it so detailed as this. You can just opt to do what I do. When I paint hair, I do the overall idea of the hair. Or you can make them all Saitama from One Punch. Yeah. Okay, I'll save that. And then let's go on to Jesse's. And then if we have any time left, I will just work on this one because I need to finish it. I have been flustered. Allow. I've been flustered with what to do with this background, so we'll figure that out in a second. Great idea. Okay, so for making this more cinematic, my tongue can't speak. Remember what I said, we want to have our little grid, so if we pull it out, you're gonna see everything is too central. So we want to either, we're gonna scoot this down just a little bit, and then we're also going to make it a little bit more stretched out this way. So option one is to do something like this. Boop. Where we're making it more of that, movie scene composition. I'll just hide that. Option two is we'll go for this more vertical composition. And again, you still want to have that 2/3 rule. Regardless of whatever you start with, you can always make something look more cinematic by making it more of that 2/3 rule. So the 2/3 rule is so important. Either meaning we can have this, the subject matter right here, take up 2/3 of that space. So this is about 2/3 of that space. See how the crop is creating these grids? Takes up 2/3. Other option is you can have the empty space take up 2/3 of that composition. But in this case, because we want to focus on your characters and not necessarily the background, for this type of composition, I would say it's very heavily focused on having very nicely rendered backgrounds, so nicely rendered clouds, mountains, the whole Studio Ghibli kind of background, that kind of thing. So I'm just gonna bring this back down. So up to you, Jesse, how you want to have it. If we're looking at the stuff that you did post though, they all have that horizontal composition, so I guess we'll stick to that one. So we'll stick to this composition. Then this isn't enough because while we may have, fixed up the sides issue, it's still a little too central, so I'm just gonna scoot it a little bit more left or a little bit more right. It just really depends on what you want to showcase more. If you want to showcase more of this background over here, like the umbrella, maybe there's a table or storytelling aspect, then you would scoot it this way so that now it takes up 2/3 of this side. If you want the characters to have more focus and the background to be less emphasized, then this would be that empty ocean, that really open, expansive composition, right? So maybe that's what you want. I don't know. You'll add the umbrella. Okay, so let's scoot things over. And maybe we'll make it more of a closed off scene where, this umbrella over here is helping us frame the image. And if you've noticed all the images that you sent me, let's make it bigger. Can we see? If you look at all these images over here, oh, that's not a great way to open it. Okay. Open in a new browser. What do you notice about this? Besides the anime girls in swimsuit. It's the depth of the objects. So when you are doing composition, it's very crucial for you to have some objects pushed more towards the back and some more towards the front. All of your composition right now, do you see how most of them are very much the same plane level, like the same foreground? That's why it looks a little bit too flat. It doesn't feel very, you know, like there's motion happening. So what easy fix that we can do is we can add some grass over here, or you can add a figure that's coming in, or you can add maybe a rock or something just to bring some element to the foreground. Or other option is we make this character go farther back to the background so that we don't see her as big. So let me just add the umbrella first so we can have an idea of what we're doing. Umbrella. Oh, that's too big for my line. I'm sorry. Shoot. And keep in mind when I'm doing the angle of this umbrella, I am not going to match this chair angle for the umbrella 101. That will look very, very dumb. So let me show you how that'll look if I did that. Do you see how it looks a little too perfect? So if you ever have two, parallel lines, two parallel objects, try to make them just slightly off so we create some chance for intersection. So I learned this from my art professor in college, but we had an exercise where we were trying to find intersecting lines, trying to create portraits based on using these lines instead of drawing the actual object. And so you can apply that kind of concept to composition, so we don't want to have perfectly parallel objects. So we'll maybe put the umbrella. I don't know, how do umbrellas look like? It's a given, but I'm also like, but how do they look like? My god. Okay. Do something like this probably. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect when you sketch this out, because otherwise you're gonna go crazy. And just make sure it's actually big enough to provide her shade, and also that it's in the middle. So this length right here should match that length over there. I also want you to be careful about how tilted you make that umbrella, because if we make it say this much tilted, it's gonna create these weird kind of intersecting points. So give it a little bit of space between the umbrella and the chair. And you get to decide how you want to make your umbrella. Obviously, it doesn't have to be like this. But I'm just using this reference picture, so I'm using this type of umbrella. It can be more of those colorful umbrellas. It can be more flappy like this, or it can be more straightforward with less fabric hanging off the edge like how I'm doing. Okay, something like that probably, I don't know. You can change it up however you want. Let me fix that chair right here. And same again, I would also caution against doing two perfectly parallel, so maybe we will push that chair to be tilted more this way. Okay, so hear me out. What you can do instead of having her so perfectly, you know, parallel with the camera, we can turn her more towards this way. So that way you'll get a little bit more opportunity to do some more intersecting lines. So let's do it more this way. I know, you're gonna hate me. Okay, maybe I won't do it so tilted. I'll do it just slightly tilted. It's just because right now if we did it this way, doing that way, you're gonna hate yourself and you're only gonna be able to see this character and you won't be able to see her. Okay, so that's why I kind of want to tilt the chair this way so you can see both characters at the same time. Music, why? There you go. And yes, we're gonna end up changing a lot of this composition. I know. But she will thank me for it. Okay, cut her out. Okay. You're gonna absolutely hate me, but it had to be done. Okay, so hope that's an even enough base. Let me cut the other girl out too, so let me cut her out, and then we'll clean them up in a second. Cut. And I'll also get rid of this weird lighting situation for now, because I'll show you how we can do it a little bit better. Okay. Hide this. Keep this baby here. Okay, keep that there, keep that there. Everything else we definitely gonna erase. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, boy. Okay. I'll fix whatever I messed up here. So that's number 1, and then number 2. Get rid of this hongus right there. Oops. And let this be a lesson to you about having two similar values with your background. Because look at how difficult I am having. What a bad time I'm having right now, Jesse. Okay, 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 okay. Delete. 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 Okay, that is done. We will come back to our composition. So we'll probably have that, you know, reclining thing right here. Oh my god. Where did I put the umbrella? I put that there, okay. And then just let's look at some beach chairs. So there are a couple of different kinds. I'm imagining the one that you wanted either looks like this type. Make it slightly bigger for you. Either this fabric type, or it's those wooden plasticky ones. Like something like that. Like that. Is that what you were thinking? This or this. Didn't have a preference. Okay. If you want it to be super in your face about it, then it would be more of those plasticky ones. If you want it to be more subtle, then it would be the cloth ones. I would say the plasticky ones are a little bit easy to draw. So in that case, let me hide the umbrella so I don't feel constricted by it. I'm also just gonna put things in a different layer so I'm not stressing about it. Okay, so we'll have lawn chair. And then if she's leaning against it, the back has to be somewhere there. And how the hell do I know where to put all the angles? Well, we're just gonna pretend our horizon line is somewhere right about here. Somewhere right about here. We don't want it too low, because if it's too low, then we're gonna end up seeing more of the top of her. But you see how her body's relatively flat, more face forward versus her. So we're gonna assume that the horizon line's somewhere near her. So let's use, I don't know, what's your favorite color, y'all? No preference? Blue. Okay, let's do blue. We'll do blue for the horizon line. Blue for ocean. Okay. So whenever I'm connecting all these, I'm trying to imagine it's somewhere off, far off to that horizon line. So let's suppose that our horizon's somewhere there. Let me see how we can do this. Where did I put your thing? Okay, so if you like this straightforward thing, I'll make it more straightforward for you. Where did I put the chair? This one. I'll make it less angled. I know you like your straightforward shit. Okay. We'll make it more straightforward. Where did my horizon go? There. And then let's bring back umbrella. What happened to this umbrella? Fix that. Okay. I know it's a garbage umbrella, but whatever. I just wanted to make sure that this thing right here isn't doing this weird intersection. So we're gonna have to warp the chair just a little bit. Skew. No. Maybe I skew this way. I scoot this over. And then we just gotta change the angle of that. Okay, so there we go. There's your chair-ish. And then you would just maybe, I don't know, make it 3D. And I would not make it too fat just because lawn chairs would get too heavy, or beach chairs would get too heavy if you make it too fat. And we can just look up some quick references. So beach chairs, beach chair, image. Copy, and then let me make a new thing. I know, the tiniest beach chair you've ever seen. So we can do something like this, where it's not super thick. It's a very relatively thin beach chair. Design your beach chair however you want, okay? Okay, make it look like it's sinking in the sand or some shit like that. Same for the umbrella, we gotta make it look like it's sinking in the sand. Okay, and then because this beach chair is a little bit big, what I would do is we're gonna probably make her just a little bit bigger, just so she fits on the chair. Like, you see how now she fits compared to before she was a midget? A mini person. And then, shit, oh my god. Fuck me, okay. And then we make her bigger, and now she fits better. Okay, and then same for this character right here. I am going to adjust some things so we didn't have that weird gap, because I think this is weird. Either push the umbrella forward or we push it farther out. So I'll push it over. What do you mean? You mean like the size of the person, or what? Or of this person? Okay, I'm sorry. It just text is so hard to read sarcasm. Oh my god. You're right, Jesse. I shouldn't need to improve this. It's already perfect. I'm just out here talking out of my ass. Yeah, you don't want to move this too high. If you move this higher, then you definitely need more foreground elements. Okay, let's make her smaller. So it looks like she's, I don't know, on her way here. And then, like I said, she's probably not gonna be. Maybe something like that. I learned that whole horizon trick, but it doesn't really work when one person is sitting down. So I guess she has to be our reference point. Because I'm trying to imagine how the hell she would be able to stand here at this size. Her foot would be like there, and it just doesn't make sense. So I gotta shrink her a little bit. But I do also know that you wanted to have that whole, you know, she's standing there giving us shade or some shit like that. What to do? Okay. Let's see if we can math this out for you. Okay, if you want to have, I'm gonna make a copy, so duplicate layers. Okay, so option 1 is you do the thing where I had her shrink, so she's coming in from, I don't know, whatever she's coming in from. So where's the background? So this is that horizon line. And then we had those mountains. Right, those are the mountains that I see in that picture that you sent me. There's actually probably a lot more. Okay, so there's probably mountains, and then you'd have like a tiny little ocean in the back or some shit like that, like right there. In which case, I believe she is still too humongous. She would have to be like this tiny for it to make sense. Okay, so I don't know. Let's make her look like she's walking. Okay, some shit like that. So she would have to be that tiny, and then you would just have to add like a bunch of stuff in the front. So I don't know, maybe you could take a page out of that the anime. Where's the umbrella? There. Where did I put the... Oh my god, am I actual dumbassery? Where the hell did I... I'm like tripping. Where did I put the... Oh, okay. Okay, background line. Okay, so you could put like grass right here. You could put some rocks. And then add some, you know, more elements here and there so it doesn't look so empty. feel like this might need to go down just a little bit. Okay, so yeah, something like that probably would work better. You just throw a bunch of shit in there. Like she had her hat and like seashells, stuff like that. Other option, number 2, the one if you want to have, you know, her standing on over her to do that whole like, oh, I'm blocking you, giving you some shade. We're gonna zoom in our image just a little bit. Just a little bit. And then, where is she? Bring her down. And then I would even, okay, prepare for really garbage editing. I don't think it's gonna work. I don't know if it's gonna work. We would have to turn her body the opposite direction. Goddamn. Okay, okay. We can't do it this way. Let's do it this way. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try to turn her body using the power of liquefy. It's not gonna be perfect because there's only oh so much liquefy can do. But we're gonna try. No. It's okay. It's just because I don't have the separate layers. So that's why it's so hard for me to edit. But we'll work with what we have. And then I'm gonna try to turn her belly button more this way. Move it up more so it's not in her crotch. Move that over, move that over. I'll still have to edit it using manual painting skills, but this will give us a good start so I don't have to work so hard. Yeah! I love that you got the shadow between the belly button and the belly. It's just the placement is bothering me. Okay, let's see, can I scoop this baby over more? Okay, we're just gonna have to do some manual fixing. Okay. Oh, TB Choi, I love her. My god, she's god. Okay, I will fix the shadows later, but for now I want to make sure that we have, you know, anatomy and perspective correct. So y'all's gonna have to just bear with me how ugly it is right now. And because she's turning to the side, obviously, you're gonna see a little bit more of her breast popping out. For her pose, what I would suggest doing is instead of having 2 arms up, we're gonna have just maybe 1 arm up. And she's gonna be shading herself, and then the other arm can be down. Because when you have 2 arms up, it creates too close of a pose right here. Unless you wanted her to be like, you know, this pose. But I feel like that's a whole different thing. So don't worry about muscles yet when you're drawing the arm position. You just want to make sure you have the general basic anatomy. So her shoulder should sit right next to the whatever this muscle's called, the trapeze. And then I'm gonna have her arm be like sitting back here. Okay, I'm also gonna... Sorry to erase your hard work. We gotta fix the legs first. So I'm gonna make it so she is standing on this back leg. So that means the hips tilt this way, the shoulder tilts this way, and do you see how now we get that cool contrapposto pose that I mentioned back in our very last year's complex poses video? We use everything. Okay, and that way you'll get that really nice S-shape line that you want to see. And then for her bikini, obviously, to make it look flattering on her, I don't want to see too low for the bikini line. If you do it this low, it gives a very unflattering silhouette. Yeah, I did it a while, but I think it's, when did I do that? It was last summer, I think. Let me see. It was called... If you need to know where to find it, I believe I have it under a collection, and it's process video, no, monthly tutorials. Monthly tutorials. I try to group everything under like these things. Oh, I might have deleted it. Or is this, yeah, maybe I deleted it. I'll add it back in. I just feel like I think I might have deleted it. Or is it just too far back? Yeah, I deleted it. It's okay, I'll just re-upload it. Haha. Let's see, is it in my drafts? I don't even know where the drafts go anymore. Okay, I will republish those. I think I deleted them because I was trying to do the thing where I didn't want to have too many videos available for Patreons to give the incentive for people to keep subscribing, but I don't think it makes a difference, so I will just add it back for y'all. I will at least add back that one because I know that one was a very juicy tutorial. And I only do it for you guys because you've been such loyal followers for me. I think it's partly space, but also the whole I didn't want to give too many because that would mean that new subscribers for Patreon subscribers, they would, you know, pay for like 1 month subscriber and then they have access to all those videos versus you guys who's been paying for like all those months for all the access. Complex poses. Yes, that's interesting. Okay, I will repost this one, get a shareable link. I thought I didn't delete this one, but I guess I deleted it. Sometimes, maybe it might have, you know, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it might be Patreon saying like, oh, 1 year before. I don't know. I don't know what setting I put. My dumbass does whatever it does. Okay, how do I add more shit? Attachments. June? Because I know for this one I included a shit ton of... There we go. Okay. And it's only for y'all, and then let's add it to monthly tutorials. Publish. Okay, it's back on the channel. Yeah, they're on unlisted, so you guys, once you, every month when you see me post it, you can just add it to your playlist. It's set on like whoever has the link can view it, but if you don't have the link, you can't view it. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of old ones that I might have deleted it. Like, let's see. Collections, monthly tutorials. Either I deleted it or potentially it's just because I didn't add it to the collection. June. Do I not know how to spell? Okay, there's a chance that it's just in Patreon, but I just didn't add it to the collection. So, but I'm hoping I will find some time one of these days to organize it better. My bad. I know for sure I deleted the really old ones because I was doing that whole trial, like, oh, I want to make sure new patrons kind of thing. But I will go ahead. I think, how about this? For on our Discord, I will just share a YouTube playlist I have that includes all our monthly tutorials that are only private. They're not available unless you have the link. So let me do that. Patreon tutorials. Oh, I'm so shit at like organizing things. Okay. Yeah, when I I will organize it and then I'll send it over on the Discord. Anyway, back to our little spiel. Yeah, OGs obviously get special treatment. Y'all have been with me for so long. It's not exactly a mess, it's just we're going to try to compositional wise make it look as Gucci, as good as ever, good as possible. I'm also giving you a chance to do nice juicy booty. So hide her away so we can actually see her leg. Oops. Okay, fill that in, fill that in. Okay, so something like that for that one, and then let's fix the swimsuit. I'm not sure what's the deal with her swimsuit again? She has this. Okay, she has this weird kind of that thing. Not sure what's going on, but it's cute. Okay, let's fill that in so you can see how the general pose looks like. I'm not even talking about the lighting just yet. We will talk about that, don't you worry. Slash. Okay, and then to know where to put this, we're gonna see where we put the shoulder, because this bicep right here should connect like that. So you just erase that part. If you're really muscular, then you would see that line, but I don't think she's that muscular. She ain't built like that. And that's how you would figure out the hand. Start with this pinky area first, because that, when you're doing this pose, this is going to be what you see first. And then let's tilt her back just a little bit so she looks like she's leaning. And then for her, she's not too bad. I would just fix her foot placement because that looks so uncomfortable for her. We'll flatten her foot out so she looks like she's actually on the bench. And then we're gonna lift up this part, because when she's lying down, if you can imagine it, we gotta match this angle, match these angles right here. This should match this angle, so that means her butt is gonna be more tilted this way, right? Ah. And then the foot won't be flat like that when you're on a, I don't know, a mattress or anything. Your foot doesn't like that position. It feels awkward to it. So it's going to actually be in relaxed pose. And it's going to point upwards. Just trying to make sure both feet are the same size. Okay, so see how that now looks a little bit more natural. She's, you know, vibing. Even in the picture that you sent me, her foot, just think about it, Jesse. When you're sitting down like that, if you're letting your whole leg lie flat like this, would your foot be in ballerina point pose all the time? I swear, even when I sleep, if I have my foot, like, you know, I move that foot in that position for like a split second, I start cramping. So I don't imagine anyone's normal person sitting like that would enjoy it. Okay, and then let's make sure the bikini bottom actually wraps around the body. This is a 3D object. And let's also fix the angle of the buboes and the body. Okay, so her body's probably going to be twisted a little bit in order for her arm to be sitting like that. And keep in mind, again, the arm right here is where that boob it should stop, the edge of the boob. So don't extend it farther or else it's gonna look whack. And let's talk about comfortable arm positions. It's not usually this stretched, it's slightly relaxed. So we're gonna give her just a slight bend in the elbow so she feels more relaxed. And then we'll outstretch her hands just like that, so she looks like she's holding onto her knee. It's not perfect, but and then we're making sure that this connects to this part of the arm better. Okay, and then I'm just gonna erase this part so her chair can be in front. Okay, so you could do something like that, and then I would just probably bring back those, you know, those decorations to fill up this space. You could even put like a little table. Like right here if you wanted to, with a drink. Or with a book or some shit, just to add more interest to this left part. It's stuff that you build up, you know? So like if you're not used to thinking this way as an artist, it's not stuff that you would think when you're drawing, but when someone points it out, it obviously makes sense. So it just comes with experience. It just slowly builds up that way. And then let's talk about lighting. I will go bust everything into a different layer. Let's do this. And then we're gonna apply some shadows just to give us some darks and lights. So this background right here. Ay. We're gonna lighten this part of the background up because obviously it's super bright, correct? And this one can even be kind of bright also. And then we're gonna separate the forms using some shadows. So using this color, we're gonna choose a shadow color. I'll just make it slightly lighter. Okay, that's too dark. Maybe the shadow would be somewhere here. The umbrella's gotta have some shadow also to help us block out some areas. The top of the umbrella though, is be slightly lighter. It can be almost as bright as the sky. Do you see how now you're getting these very clear sections in your picture? And then if we're doing the mountains, like that, those huge mountains that, and the little, I don't know, the hillside like that, then your mountains won't be too dark because keep in mind, again, they are in the background, so we need to have some atmospheric differences, and then you can separate the forms by adding that little bush that we saw before. See how that helps you break up the mountains? Umbrella. And then let's find our chair, because I am pretty bad at this. Okay. Umbrella is gonna go to the back. Chair's gonna go front. Okay, chair. Chair. I'm gonna choose a medium value for those shadows, because it's definitely not gonna be as dark as that ground. Push down. We'll make this ground a little bit darker just so we have more contrast. Chair. Chair, chair, chair. And of course the whole chair is not going to be this color. This is the shadow value for the chair, because we're imagining it's a white chair, right? So lock that layer, baby, and then we're gonna go ahead. Wherever that umbrella doesn't cover is gonna become that whiter area, and then we're gonna consider where are our shadows. So underneath the leg, obviously, it's gonna get shadow. Underneath the body is gonna get shadow. Yeah, see, then your under thighs get that nice soft bounce light. So if we're talking color, value-wise, it's not gonna look different, because value-wise, it should be similar. But if we're talking about color, okay, let me just do her thighs real quick. Overlay a color, I don't know, choose a color. Okay, just choose a random color. Ugh, this is not the best way to do this. Let me see, is there a better way? Color. There we go. Okay, so say I did this color, right? And then let's add some shadows. Yeah, you know why there's no shadows? Because your values! It's your values! Your values are killing me, sir! Maybe I have to undo the release grouping map. There we go. Okay, so hypothetically, I'm gonna pretend. Okay, pretend our good old thigh. Let me tone it better. Okay, so supposedly if this is the shadow area, right? You would get a nice warm glow underneath it. You'll increase the saturation in order to create that bounce light, something like that. See that? So this right here, if we turn it to black and white, do you see how it's basically the same value? So that's why I said, you know, it's hard if you wouldn't be able to see it in the black and white version, but in color you would see it. So if I increase, you know, the brightness of it, if you like your light skin girlies, right, you would still be able to see that color. Okay, so that would be how the leg would end up looking with the whole bounce light underneath it. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about our black and white values for now, because that's more important than your color. Okay, this will also give you opportunities to bring some light back into your character. Where's the background colors? Let's add some light back to this area. You can make it so maybe the umbrella's not that encompassing. And there might be some, you know, bounce light back into the cup, back into whatever objects are nearby. I'm gonna sit down. Follow along the journey with me, y'all. My standing table. Boop. Okay. If you wanted to bring back some darkness to the background, you can totally, you know, do some textured trees or some shit like that in the back. And reserve this spot right here for that super, super bright light. And then let's add back some actual believable shadows for your characters. If this is her, this is her. She will be in shadow. And we're gonna bring back some lights. It just really depends on where you're gonna put the sun. If you're gonna put the sun like up top here, then you're gonna see more here. If not, this is gonna get in the shade, get in the shadow. And I would suggest we break up her hair just a little bit, so we don't have such a big chunk. Okay, maybe something more airy like that. And then let's finish up by adding some shadow to your main character, the one in front. Multiply, and again, find out where that umbrella stops and starts. Okay, so you might have some lighting that looks like this. We could go even darker for the other character just to really make her look like she's standing against a really, really dark situation. Okay, just trying to make this part a little bit darker so you can get that nice bright sun that you want. I don't want that brush, this one. Where is our hard light? Ah, no! Let's find a hard light layer and then you can add those rays of sun. Okay, so then you would get really cool effects happening. So if we compare before, Jesse, before, after, so you had that really bright glow, but everything was just, you know, not stretched out enough. So option two, option uno. Okay, 2 options for you for your composition, but I'm sure that this will give you a good idea of where to go. After you're done with that, we can start, you know, overlaying some color. So if you wanted to do that blue kind of vibe that you saw in the image, color overlay, you could do some shit like this. I don't know. Play around with the color later. You can bring this back for next month for critique, and we can talk about color after you've gotten all the poses down, okay? So that's gonna be for today's crit stream. Didn't have enough time for here, but I will finish up this piece for our this month's tutorial about saturated colors, because obviously hint hint wink wink, this is saturated colors to the extreme. I originally wanted to do this one instead, but I don't know, something about that pose feels too stiff to me, so I was like, okay, we'll just go for this one instead. But I will update that crit, the monthly crit videos, not crit videos, monthly tutorial videos playlist, and then I'll send it out in the Discord, and I'll also send these out in the Discord also, okay? Have a great night, everyone. If I feel like it this weekend, maybe I'll stream again, but we'll see. We'll see. Hope you guys have a great night. Bye bye. Bye bye.